So hello, my name is Marc Alexis Cote. I'm the creative director on Assassin's Creed Syndicate, and we're here at the Uplay Lounge at E3.
What are you guys showing new here when it comes to Assassin's Creed Syndicate?
So here at the Uplay Lounge, we're showing you our hands-on demo that people can play. It's a demo in which Jacob can conquer a part of the city of London. So we are showcasing the open world activities that are a great addition to Assassin's Creed Syndicate, meaning that the player can grow their gang as they move throughout the city.
What are some of the things you learned from Assassin's Creed Unity going into Syndicate?
So I think one of the things that we are trying to improve is all the fluidity of the navigation. For example, entering windows and all that kind of stuff, making it super fluid and accessible for our players.
This is one of the first games where you're actually in an industrial revolution when there's a lot of gears and mechanics, and you always had guns in past Assassin's Creed games, but now they're kind of really prominent everywhere. How did you deal with that when tweaking gameplay and stuff?
Well, one of the things that changes a lot with more modern era London is that the streets are much wider and the buildings are taller than what we're used to see. So this is why we're introducing gadgets like the rope launcher, which allows players to move on rooftops much faster than ever before and maintain their momentum as they cross the street. So we are really adapting the gameplay to this more modern era.
Where does this take place in the Assassin's Creed timeline?
So this takes place, it's the most modern one that we have. So it's the one that's closest to our time period.
So Abstergo is still charging people for entertainment, right?
Oh, you mean about the present day story? Well, you'll have to stay tuned for that one because we're going to reveal more throughout the summer about what's happening with the present day story.
Can you talk about and this is the question of the ages for every Assassin's Creed game, but how do you go about deciding what era to do next?
So it's really, we have a long-term plan, but there's flexibility for the teams to decide what fits best to the team that's trying to build it. We're a team that started off on Assassin's Creed Brotherhood, building stuff like the Leonardo machines. So we're a team that likes to innovate, bring new gameplay to the brand. So this more modern era was a perfect fit for us, which is why we chose to focus on it.
What did having it take place in 18th century London open up for you gameplay-wise?
Well, for me, one of the great things that this opened up was the idea of having carriages and so much traffic in the city. The city went from 1 million inhabitants to 7 million inhabitants in about 75 to 100 years. So you can see public transportation organizing, much more traffic, and this is one of the things that's the biggest game changer in terms of gameplay for the Assassin's Creed experience.
Let's talk about the Templars for a minute, because in most of the games the assassins are on kind of the shorter end of the stick when you start out. But it seems this one they've had a really permanent hold on the city with a lot of more people behind their cause.
Yeah, absolutely. The Templars are firmly in control of the city. That's how the game begins. And some things that's different from previous Assassin's Creed is that when you start, you know exactly who your target is going to be. You have to take down his organization. So it really changes up the way we do the storytelling in Assassin's Creed Syndicate compared to past Assassin's Creed.
You guys work with any historians to make sure that 18th century London was accurate and...
Oh, of course. I mean, I was the first person to start on the project. You can bet that the second person is the historian, and we've been consulting with historians in London as well to make sure that our English fans are proud of the game that we are building and that they feel it reflects their wonderful city.
What were some of the biggest challenges when creating this new Syndicate game?
I think the addition of vehicles is really something, systemic vehicles in the city. It changes the way we think about the structure of the city. So it forces us to change our habits, but I think it's for good, because like what you see, the result is that the pedestrians are now on the sidewalks. It makes a lot of sense when you go into this experience. So this was really a challenge for us, and I hope our players love it.
When can people play Assassin's Creed Syndicate?
So people will be able to play Assassin's Creed Syndicate on October 23rd.
Platforms?
On PS4 and Xbox One, and later in the fall on PC.